There's an animal out there that has never, not once, won a fair fight, and it has one of the highest survival rates on the planet. The fox doesn't have the strength of a wolf. It doesn't have the speed of a cheetah. It can't even win a straight-up brawl with a house cat in the right conditions. And yet, foxes are thriving on every continent except Antarctica. They live in jungles, deserts, Arctic tundra, and the middle of major cities. So here's the question nobody's asking. What does the fox know that we don't? Here's why this matters to you right now. We live in a world that rewards the loudest, the biggest, the most aggressive, but the fox has been quietly winning for 10 million years using a completely different playbook. And when you understand how it thinks, it might just change how you think.
Let's start with something that sounds simple but is actually profound. The fox never picks a battle it can't win. Not because it's a coward, because it's a strategist. When a fox encounters a threat, a dog, a coyote, even a badger, it doesn't stand its ground. It doesn't posture. It runs. But here's what's wild. It doesn't run away. It runs through tall grass, through water, across roads, deliberately choosing terrain that neutralizes the other animal's advantage. Scientists who track fox behavior found something remarkable. Foxes create what researchers call false trails. They'll loop back over their own tracks, cut across open ground at weird angles, even walk through streams to erase their scent, all to make a pursuer waste energy chasing a path that leads nowhere. They're not just escaping, they're deceiving. Think about that like a chess player who doesn't just move their pieces, they move your pieces too, without you even noticing. The fox isn't playing defense, it's controlling the entire board. Now here's where it gets really interesting, because what makes the fox dangerous isn't just what it does, it's what it's willing to wait for. Foxes are famous for a hunting technique called the pounce stalk. They'll sit completely still in a field, sometimes for 45 minutes, listening, not looking. Listening. Their ears rotate independently like satellite dishes, triangulating the exact position of a mouse moving under 2 feet of snow. And then, when the moment is exactly right, they leap straight up and dive headfirst into the ground. Czech researchers discovered something mind-blowing here. Foxes almost always jump in a northeast direction when they hunt, and their success rate when they do, over 70%. But when they jump any other direction, it drops to 18%. They're literally using Earth's magnetic field like a targeting system. A targeting system. But here's the human angle, and I want you to sit with this for a second. That level of patience requires one thing most of us genuinely struggle with: emotional control. The fox doesn't move when it feels ready, it moves when the situation is ready. That's a completely different relationship with time than most of us have.
Okay, here's the twist, and this is the part I think you're going to want to remember. For centuries, we've called the fox cunning, sly, tricky. We wrote it into fables, into folklore, into idioms. But what we were actually describing, without the science to back it up, was cognitive flexibility, which is one of the rarest and most valuable traits in the entire animal kingdom. Here's the proof. In the 1950s, a Soviet geneticist named Dmitry Belyaev ran an experiment. He wanted to understand domestication, so he started selectively breeding foxes, only choosing the calmest, most human-friendly ones to reproduce. Within 10 generations, not 1,000 years, 10 generations, the foxes started showing dog-like behavior, wagging tails, floppy ears, seeking human attention. Their brains rewired to adapt to a completely new social environment. Think about what that means. The fox didn't just survive in a new environment. It actually became something new to fit it. That's not instinct. That's intelligence operating at a level most animals, and honestly most people, never reach. The fox never changed the goal. It just kept changing the method until the goal was achievable. What would that look like for you?
So here's what we actually learned today. Winning doesn't require being the strongest, it requires being the most adaptable. The fox has survived ice ages, deforestation, urbanization, and human hunting for 10 million years, not because it's powerful, but because it refuses to be rigid. Second, patience isn't passive. The fox sitting motionless in that field for 45 minutes isn't doing nothing. It's doing everything. It's gathering information, controlling its impulses, and waiting for the highest percentage moment to act. That is active strategy wearing the costume of stillness. And third, the most dangerous thing about the fox isn't its speed or its teeth. It's that it never stops learning. Even its brain rewires when the environment demands it. That kind of flexibility is what separates creatures that merely survive from ones that genuinely thrive. If this made you think differently about how you approach your own challenges, and if you want more content that uses the natural worlds to unpack how humans can actually win at life, hitting subscribe takes 2 seconds and it means you won't miss what's coming next. Because next time, we're looking at an animal that's been declared extinct 3 separate times and kept coming back. And what it reveals about the psychology of resilience will genuinely surprise you.